What's going on, guys? VillosaurusWrex here. Knights of the Round Records, episode number 4. Here with my boy Eric.
What's up?
Bass returning for his second episode.
What's up?
The real Bass this time. The old Bass had to go. He had to go get his new flannel shirt.
Not wearing flannel today. I don't always wear flannel.
But this Bass came through clutch with some tacos, so we can't be mad at this Bass.
That's where the other one went. He went to go get tacos.
Yeah, he probably did. Then to the left of me, as always, Charles.
What's up, guys?
All right, guys. So since we last spoke, we've been highly anticipating the new Gucci Mane album, and it dropped. And it dropped as well as some new Wu-Tang. The saga continues. We talked about this last week. We were saying it was about to come out, but it's out now. Have y'all got a chance to listen to it?
I have not got a chance to listen to Wu-Tang, which I'm pretty upset about myself.
I haven't heard the Wu-Tang album yet. I've been just looping Gucci for the last few days, and I definitely have to make some time to listen to the Wu.
Yeah.
Ditto,
what have you heard?
Ditto on what Eric said. Like, same thing. Word for word.
So
what mine's just pieces of shit. We haven't listened to Wu-Tang. It's like one of my favorite groups that I haven't listened to.
Stuck on the
mine.
I've been working nights, alright. It got me fucked up.
Mine, believe it or not, is backwards. I have yet to hear Gucci because I've had Wu-Tang on repeat.
God, it's that good,
dude.
Oh,
it's
I'm so
that
excited,
good.
dude.
It's that
so
good.
excited.
You have the RZA. You have Method Man. You have It is.
Oh yeah, Redman is included on this one, right?
It is probably the epitome of hip hop.
Oh my god!
But released in 2017.
I just got hard.
Yeah.
So
for all of our younger viewers.
So would you say that this new Wu-Tang album is probably one of the best things that's come out this year? Like, as far as
if it is not the best thing that's come out in 2017, it is definitely in the top 5. And I can't do a top 5 of albums this year, which we will do at the end of the year for y'all folks.
Yeah.
A top 10 albums though, because not everything's been released this year. We still have a lot of stuff. We still have Eminem, who killed it at the BET Cypher, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. We're going to talk about all the ciphers. Then you have Fabulous coming out with something. And there's a million different people saying that they're going to release stuff.
Before the end of the year?
What's that? Before the end of the year, yeah. Fetty Wap just dropped something today.
Wow, I haven't heard from Fetty Wap in a long time.
He dropped a mixtape. That's about it. Chris Brown apparently is going to be dropping something on Halloween that is a 45-track album.
Wow.
What?
That's impressive.
I didn't even hear about that.
I feel like it's going to be a 45-track album, but it's going to be like a 45-minute album.
It might be a
minute songs.
I got you. Yeah,
It's a cop-out, yo.
couple minute songs.
If I don't hear him hitting Rihanna in this one, it's not a banger.
And then that beat hits harder than he hits Rihanna.
All right.
Savage.
Everyone duck. The shot's being fired.
We just lost all women fans.
Right. There we go.
I swear,
Feminists, put your hands up, please. No, it's
all
a joke.
All jokes.
All jokes aside, now let's talk about the BET 2017 ciphers. The award show was cool. The performances were good. The award for Uncle Luke, which is one of the pioneers of hip hop, was probably one of the best things that I've seen in a while.
He got his recognition.
The awards sucked. Cardi B won everything, which is cool. She deserved it. But you put some 3 awards in an entire award show.
Yeah, that's pretty
I watched it
ridiculous.
for the ciphers.
Yeah,
so we're going to talk about the ciphers right now. Not in depth or in detail or anything like that, but I just want to go around the table and ask, who had your ears? Eric, who had your ears during the cipher?
Sci-Hi the Prince, for sure. He had the best verse out of everybody the entire night, in my opinion. It was better than Fat Joe. That's for damn sure. Better than Fat Joe, for sure.
I think everybody was better than Fat Joe, though.
So with that being said, who would you want to put on mute?
Ooh, Fat Joe for sure. Fat Joe for sure. Dude was just talking on the beat. He didn't say really anything with any substance other than some shots at Trump, which, I mean, it is what it is.
Everyone did
and
that.
Nikki, yeah.
And Nikki also.
And Nikki.
What'd he say? I got a bitch in the whip named Nikki sipping Remy.
Yeah.
Okay. Smooth line.
Be like, I doubt it, you're fat.
Bass.
Suck at rapping.
Bass, who had your ears during the cipher?
Same. Damn, I have to completely agree. Sci-Hi kills it every time. Fat Joe is fucking trash. R.I.P. Pun, and what was that dude's name? My son or Mates, whatever that dude.
He was the third to the last on the one
same,
with Black.
On the same one with
With
Black.
NT Grizzly.
I think it's My Son.
My son. Yeah, he was pretty cool. I like.
That's not my son.
It's
Rudy.
our son.
Where's Rudy?
But yeah.
And then who would you have skipped over?
Fat Joe. I started hearing and I skipped over, and then I was like, nah, we give it a chance. I listened to the whole thing. And I was like, I should have left it skipped. So.
Charles, who had your ears during the ciphers?
Sci-Hi, of course, and I've been a big fan of Denzel Curry for a while, so
Yeah, he actually did. Really
I like
good
Denzel's
on
on this one.
And then who would you have skipped? Are we all gonna say Fat Joe?
I don't want to say Fat Joe.
That's who I was gonna skip.
Round it out.
I'm really bummed. All of our choices are the same.
We're
I thought it was
gonna
gonna
lose
be
all of our
like
2000s kids crowd.
Right. Yeah.
But Fat Joe. Just. There was another one. I just can't remember their name, but I guess it's okay that I don't remember their name for that reason. But
They're across the board. That chick with the British accent, I really liked her stuff. I don't know her name, but it was pretty cool. I can't remember her name.
Little Sims.
Yeah, Little Sims.
She had a cool flow. I liked it.
So I'm gonna have to agree with y'all. Sci-Hi the Prince, hands down.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before the show. If you're a Kanye fan and you do not know who Sci-Hi the Prince is, turn off your MP3, your CD player, your cassette player, your records, whatever the fuck you're listening to music on, because
you don't know what you're
doing. If you listen to Sci-Hi and you're like, this guy's horrible, but you're banging fucking, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy or
which
some
I don't know
music
how
or
you
something.
could say he's horrible because he's lyrically probably one of the best in the game.
Yeah, I mean, if not the best, he is, definitely top 5.
He's super slept on, so I guess if you've never heard him. But if you've heard him and you don't like him, something's wrong with you.
I actually have him as a friend on Facebook, Seidel Prince Sci-Hi Young. And this was back in like 2009. And I added him, and I'll show y'all here when we get off the air. I'll show it to you.
You actually put me on him a while back,
Yeah.
because we would always talk hip hop, and you're all, dude, you got to check out this dude, Sci-Hi, and I was like, all right,
yeah, it's Sci-Hi and Pusha T. I found out about them two at the same time, even though I knew about Pusha T when he was with Clips, but Pusha T on the solo on his solo shit, that was I found out about him with them, and I found out about them through Kanye.
Later I started listening to more once I.
Yeah, so. I'm going to have to also go with Belly. Belly was hot on that, too.
Yep.
And then if I'm going to stick with my two favorites on that one, my least favorite's definitely Fat Joe. So my love and hate was all in that one cipher bar right there. So
was pretty good.
Shout out to DJ Premier, Houston, Texas, man, holding it down. Like
that beat's fire.
Yeah.
I even messaged the group and I was like, guys, we got to rap over this, and we don't even rap. But we got to throw verse on.
I'm not a rapper. Hey, just a quick side note though. There was one guy that I really was impressed by. It was Kaz, or I'm not sure if that's how you say his name.
Which was that?
Yes,
but I was very impressed. I'd never heard of him before, and I heard his verse. Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
he was
fire.
Ali's verse was pretty dope too.
Yeah,
a lot of the guys' names I don't know. So
and you know what? That's what this hip hop. This is what this thing's
so
about right here. Inform us, comment below, and tell us like, hey, you fucked up saying his name, or hey, their name was this.
Yeah,
or,
definitely correct me on that.
Yeah,
if
man.
I said that wrong. I'm trying to get that.
We'll try and find him and tag him too, so maybe he can tell us like
what's up, fam?
like Amine. Have y'all heard of Amine?
Yes.
He sings Caroline, Red Mercedes, and stuff like that. Okay,
dude, the whole album was sick. Dude,
yeah, good for you. The fucking
I fuck with him.
It's up there for the best albums of this year. But he's got a shirt that has like the different pronunciations. It's like anime, and then
in one of the songs they have it too. They're saying all these different. Different names.
So I mean, embrace your hip hop name and laugh at it, man. It's cool. But we're gonna fuck up saying it anyway. Like we said in Kanye's podcast that we had, I thought he was Kanye West when we first started. Like I thought his name was Kane. And Illa said the same thing.
Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye. So yeah, man. We also heard finally back from Eminem. This was the first time we heard from Eminem in a while, and the first time we heard from him right before his album's supposed to be dropping on the 17th of next month. So, politics aside, how did y'all feel about it?
It was good. I was surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He's done it before, but with the acapella cipher. Another thing, I guess with the whole political stance that he's taking. I'm sure that's how he really feels, but I kind of just feel that he took shots and everything just to kind of promote a bit. Get his name out there a little more. But I thought it was a good verse. I got no problem with it. It was pretty good.
Bass, how'd you feel about it?
I respect what he did and like what he was going for, like like that whole thing, like the movement and stuff. But I don't know, it was a little weird. Like he still clearly has the skill for it. It's just like I don't know. He did it without a beat, acapella. Like I feel like he always tries to be super different, which he is. Which I respect, but I don't know. It was a little weird for me. I was like, all right, that's cool, man.
Charles, how'd you feel about it?
Better drop a hot album.
It was good. Yeah, it was. I mean, you expect that from Eminem. So, lyrically and syntax wise, is Eminem. And you rhyme things that aren't supposed to rhyme, and that's one of the things he's good at. The dude rhymed orange, so
he did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did.
So I didn't really go into it with like, oh, this is probably gonna suck. I'm like, this is probably gonna be good Eminem. And
There's probably subliminal stuff about him coming out as gay in there as well, like we saw in
I don't have anything to get into that. We all know that.
in the Seth Rogen
interview.
flick. Yeah, the interview.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, did he make a song about that? Because I was like, the only thing I know is the interview. I was like, oh shit, man. I was like, this is. Well, props for him if he is.
Yeah.
Eminem, if you are gay, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
People are gonna still bump your shit.
Yeah, people are gonna love you regardless. So
if anything, it's an even bigger base for you. So.
it is what it is.
All right.
Do you?
So last week, Charles, who did you pick for what?
What are we gonna start with?
Oh, we're gonna start with mainstream album.
Okay, I went classic. For me. Not classic as in like old, but like something that's just gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. And I went Magna Carta, Jay-Z, 2013 circa.
So since you chose it, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start it out. Talk to me about the album. How'd you feel about it, man?
Oh, front to back, just well written, well produced. To start it off with an opening of Justin Timberlake. I like the Backstreet Boys, but I'm an even bigger Justin Timberlake fan. So for me, just hearing that right off the bat, just sold. And then from then on, it just doesn't stop. It just keeps going. There's no downtime for me in this album. There's nothing I'd probably skip. If I had to later on, we'll talk about that. But if I had to skip something, I'm gonna hate it. So front to back, this thing just well written, well produced. I want to bump it for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. Bass, talk to me about it, man. I know you've heard it many a times.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark, but I'm going to have to disagree a little bit.
What if?
I thought it was... No, Timberlake, I used to hate him back in the day when I was like a dumb little kid. But, dude, he's fucking talented. And that song, that opener was amazing. Like, I still bump that anytime. But what pissed me off, like, it started off hot, and then there's a few songs to where, like, Ross, like, fuck me, I got it. It's just him yelling that for 3 minutes. And then Jay has like a short little verse. He does that and Jay does that in a few of these songs, like the beach song. What is it?
Beach is better.
Beach is better.
Oh, it's a 55-second song.
Yeah,
so.
dude, that's what I'm saying. Like it could have, like it started off hot. It could have been like a whole song. And I'm like,
but when you're
let
Jay-Z,
me
you can get away with shit like that,
Yeah, but it's stupid. It pisses me off. Because it's like, why even make it? I don't know, man. But towards the end, it started getting better again, but there's a few of those where I'm like, dude, just making it a full song, it would have been sick.
So I'm going to go ahead and call this album a marshmallow because Bass is roasting it over here.
God damn. Jay's going to come and roast me in a whole album. Like,
him and Kanye going to show up at the door right now?
What have you done in your life?
Eric, tell me how you felt about it, man.
All right, I like this album a lot. Front to back, it's really good. There's a couple of songs in the mix that I would probably skip over. There's a couple that I did skip over on the way over here.
Ouch.
But it's not that, it's just kind of on the drive. Like for me, I listen to music a lot when I'm driving, so if it's not with the flow, you know what I mean? It just, some of the songs weren't something you could ride to the way I like to. So that was the only reason I skipped them. Not that they're bad songs, I do enjoy them, just not for the ride.
Here's why I'll tell you why I didn't like it. Kanye wasn't involved with it at all.
Yeah.
There was no Kanye production, no Kanye feature, no Kanye nothing.
They weren't beefing at the time, right?
They weren't.
Right? That was
they
like
weren't.
way before. Yeah, because that was
2013.
This was 2 years after.
This was pre-Life of Pablo. This was right around. This is right around Yeezus time. If I'm not-
grown. So they were good.
Hey, but Kanye didn't put Jay in Yeezus.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah, maybe it was a swing at the big
We'll talk
brother.
about Yeezus if it ever comes
so
up.
back up, dude.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I might be wrong on this, but I don't think Jay-Z was on Life of Pablo anywhere either, was he?
No,
No, he wasn't.
So,
no, not at all.
but see, that was whenever the whole the beef was going down, I guess.
Starting to, yeah.
Behind the
Let's
scenes.
not talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
We're not gonna have Mark
I'm gonna get all
cry.
emotional.
Mark's
I don't want to
emotional.
think about. I don't want to think about Jay-Z and Kanye beefing. Like, I want to think about them working together, creating some magic. That's what I want to think
If we
about.
get the
Not-
Watch the Throne 2 already,
I'm waiting for.
I'm
that.
waiting for Watch the Throne through, man.
I'd probably
Watch the
cry and
Throne
piss
2,
myself at the
sorry.
same time.
Yeah, you do that every night.
Well,
Anyway, they started recording this album in 2011, dropped July 4th, 2013. It was done recording about a month before it dropped, which says a lot. They went down to the wire on this one, man. Right under an hour long, this album. We've had podcasts longer than this album so far. Watch the Throne was right before this 2 years earlier, and 4 years later, 444 recently just came out. So, to me, Jay's putting some time between his albums. He's actually, putting in work on them. I'm going to go around the table, and we're going to talk about favorite tracks and least favorite tracks here in a sec. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Mark right now. Mark, favorite track on this album?
I'm gonna have to go with the eighth one in, Crown.
Crown?
That song, this song can hype me up, more than any other song probably could hip hop wise. Only because it has one of my favorite lyrics in between verses. He's not rapping it. It's just something he says. He goes, "Fear is your only god. Get y'all to fear me is my only job." So I don't know. Just hearing that, I was like intimidated. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Now, if I'm not mistaken, Travis Scott was a producer on that track, and that's it. Kind of shows that Jay is an innovator to the game these days, because Travis Scott 4 or 5 years ago, no one was bumping. Some people had heard of him, some people knew him as a producer, but 4 or 5 years ago, Travis Scott wasn't a household name like it is now to hip hop.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. So you're gonna say Crown's your favorite track off this album?
Yeah, simply for that lyric. Once I heard, the intro verse was badass. You know what I mean? I sold 1 million records like 1 million times. Shit, just front to back on that. But then he comes in with that break, and I heard that, and I was like, wow, I'm not even going to listen to the second verse, and I already know that this song is probably one of my favorite songs to come off this album, or any hip-hop album in the last 10 years, just because of that one line.
Gotcha.
It's just, like I said, it just strikes like intimidation. It intimidated me. I was like, I'm not even in the rap game, and I don't even want to make anything right now.
I just don't want Jay-Z's negative attention on me.
So I'm gonna hop across the table. We're gonna talk to Eric. Eric, favorite track off the album?
My favorite track, I got a couple, but one of them, "Fuck With Me, I Got It." I know Bass is gonna fight me on that.
Yeah, sure.
But I really like the music itself on that song. I love Rick Ross. Everybody knows that. So Rick Ross' verse, or his hook is just what I want to hear for that song. Another one I really enjoyed was Oceans with the Frank Ocean feature.
That was a good one.
The song is Fuego.
So I'm gonna jump back to "Fuck With Me, I Got It," and you're talking about Rick Ross on there. Reebok's on "I Just Do It," nigga. What happened there? What happened? What happened?
He must have been having some Wingstop at that moment and just got confused. But,
Lemon pepper sliding through his teeth, and he said the wrong words.
Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes, man.
Yeah, that when I heard it and I was banging, I was like, "Yeah, Reebok's on. I Just Do It." Oh.
Wait.
Did he just? That's a Nike, but all right, my bad.
He's like, I only do verses in one take, so
Yeah.
we're not gonna
we're not doing this
on
again.
this. No.
All right, Bass, across the table to you, bud. Favorite track off the album?
I definitely have to agree with Charles here. Crown was badass, and so was Heaven. I really like the sample in it. And it was actually 2 verses that he was actually like spitting on. Like the rest were kind of like, he'd say some little stuff. It's kind of like that. And then I was like, all right, man, when are you gonna go in?
Yeah.
And towards the end of the album, which were those were like the deeper tracks. And I was really impressed. Like exactly what he said. Like all the stuff he said in Crown was sick, and then Heaven was really cool too. And then the sample just went with the beat and everything. And I thought it was really both pretty powerful songs.
The samples in this album were just really good all
dude,
around.
That's what sold me on Crown, is that sample, that little, like, you hear that dun, 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 just, it's like small, and you wish it was longer, which
That's what my complaint was with Fuck Me, You Know I Got It. Like, I mean, it was a long song, but like his verse was smaller, and I was down with Ross doing the hook, but him doing the hook repeatedly the whole song.
So you say that's a long song?
It was like 5 minutes. I mean, it's not long, but
Fuck Me, You Know I Got It.
It wasn't like
It's
5
4
minutes.
minutes long. 4 minutes and 3 seconds.
I thought it was longer.
It's 4 minutes and 3 seconds longer. Crown's longer.
Maybe it's because
The track with Beyonce, part 2.
That one was a badass song. But
That's like a whole minute and a half longer.
The song that needed to be longer was Beach is Better. Let's just get
Yes, dude. Yes.
Beach is Better needed to be a whole song and not just a little snippet.
That did not put Michael Made It. Like that didn't to me say like that was a Michael Made It song, and it is as a Michael Made It beat.
Dude, it is.
So my favorite off the album is Oceans. It has to be, man.
Oceans was a hot one.
Definitely a good song.
To me, it's just one of those songs I could just replay and listen to all the time. Right behind Picasso Baby. Picasso Baby is another one on there. I don't know if y'all saw the visual for Picasso Baby.
I haven't.
The visual for Picasso Baby is awesome. They're in an art gallery, and they have people blindfolded, and they have people just doing Jay-Z's parts of the song and stuff like that, and then Jay-Z pops up and then does the end of it, where the beat switches up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he does a whole different style rap at the end of Picasso Baby.
Sounds like something I'll have to check out.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
to me the visual
I wish we had
made that song 10 times better, and it was one of the best songs off the album in my opinion.
I wish we had clearance to like watch the videos and play the songs while we're doing like
Right?
a small little
Play
snippet. That would be
snippets,
tough.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, Jay-Z, holla at me. You got the cell phone number. It's VillosaurusWrex in your phone. It's in the V's. I know you don't go that far. Beyonce's on top.
Hey, Hov,
so.
you owe me $20.
Yeah. That brick, man. You lost it. I know.
I know you said
Pinch
Travis
my
Scott
shit.
was a producer on Crown. He also wrote part of Crown.
Yes.
Because he's the hook. If you ever listen to it, where he says, "Shit on me, these niggas try to shit on me. I was left for dead. They try to wipe me out of your history." That's
Travis Scott?
He wrote that.
Man, I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Dang.
Yeah,
Did he produce more songs than just that one?
Let me look at it real quick. It
Because a
doesn't
lot
look
of the
like it, man.
songs sounded like, or who produced this album?
Well, if
No
you want
ID was on it too.
if you want to talk producers,
Pharrell was on it.
you have Sean Carter, the executive producer. You have Boy One Die. You have Hey DJ, Hit Boy, J Rock, Hip Hop, of course.
Yeah.
Mars, Mike Dean, Michael Made It, No IDs on there. Pharrell Williams, Swiss Beat, The Dreams,
God damn.
Yeah, a lot of
Timbaland, Justin Timberlake, Travis Scott, and Vinyls, all listed as producers for this album.
shit.
Not like writers. Like these are
Yeah.
produced. They helped produce this album.
Yep.
That's crazy, dude. That's a
It's a long list.
That's a squad on
But
that.
That's an
basically-
expensive fucking album.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. But
That's
hey,
a
when
lot of
you're
money going out.
when you buy your girl an island, I think you can afford all that.
So
Yeah.
here's something crazy.
Got it on credit.
I didn't know this, and I need to go back and listen to it to find out why. Because I'm before hip hop was my big thing. I liked grunge rock. Writers for Holy Grails listed as Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl, and Chris Novoselic.
Wow.
Which is all the members of Nirvana. So I need to go back and listen to it and see if there's some type of sample in there from it,
it's the,
or if it's
it's the intro track where he goes. It's right at the bridge where Justin Timberlake sings it, and we all just entertainers. And
Yes,
we're stupid
there you go.
entertainers, and
That
we're
makes sense.
entertainers.
That makes sense.
Timberlake sings that, right in the bridge. You started talking about it, I was like, I know the lyrics. I just got to go back and make sure I'm reading them right.
because I know he says I got nobody to blame. Kurt Cobain, I did it to myself.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I knew
remember
that was a
line,
lyric,
yeah.
but it just skipped me that.
And we
The
all
next-
just entertainers.
Yeah, the next part was "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Wow. See, hey,
Yeah,
this
right over your head. I
Yeah,
never
dude,
just put that
yeah.
together.
You know, and
You know
then
who produced that song too?
was that?
Of all of them you did, it was J Rock, Dream, and Timbaland.
Yeah, J-Rock and No ID.
on that track.
I would have
It's
never
crazy.
have put that
Christ.
together.
Yeah, right.
was-
It's just all feels like it's all over the place, but it's just there.
Yeah, the beats were all over the place, but I like that because they were all different.
But I guess that shows the diversity of the sample and the
versatility
the
of-
production that he can use all these tools at his fingertips. It's no wonder that he has these huge numbers when it comes to his album sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
So we talked about our favorite album. We talked about a little bit of the production and whatnot. So I'm gonna go here, and to me, it's going to be kind of hard to pick my least favorite song. But I'm going to go with Charles to start this off with. Charles, least favorite track off the album.
I knew that was coming.
Probably part 2 on the Run.
Part 2 on the Run, really?
Featuring Beyonce. It's the longest on the track. It's the longest on there, next to Nickels and Dimes. But I don't know if I had to skip one, it'd probably be that one. Nothing against Queen Bee, because I'll jam Queen Bee.
I'm really surprised that
y'all know I jam Queen Bee, but
exactly.
if I had to skip one, it'd probably be that one.
I really like that song, actually.
I mean, I like it, but if I had to pick one, like I said earlier, I'm gonna hate skipping one.
I thought they complimented each other pretty good on that song.
They do perfectly.
Really
and I mean, you've heard part 1?
Yeah, I have. But have you heard the rest of this
album? So why?
I have to pick one, and that was it. Just, like I said in the beginning, like I'm gonna hate that I'm gonna have to skip one because I know that question was coming. But just
yeah, that's true. It is the album he picked, so it's like you probably like every song.
I dig every song, but if I had to pick just one to skip,
I get that.
It'd probably be that one, just to shorten the length of the album, and just because I can jam Beyonce album any day, and I don't need her on the album to be rounded out. But.
Gotcha, Bass. Least favorite track off the
album.
album.
I'm probably gonna get some hate for this, but La Familia, I was really feeling. I don't know, it's kind of annoying. Like I was like, there's no real like punch to it for me. Like not really lyrical, kind of like a shitty kind of sounding hook. Like I don't know, it just kind of dragged on for me, and I was just like, skip. I was gonna go to the next song. I don't know, that's just my choice.
Eric, least favorite track off the album.
Least favorite track, I might get some hate for this too, but it's going to be Somewhere in America. I skip that track every time. The sample just hits me wrong. I don't know. I just do not fuck with that song at all. I'm sorry.
I kind of like that song too.
That's one that I skipped
really
on my way over here, and I was like, all right, I'm not hearing this horn shit right now.
You don't want to twerk Miley twerk?
Goddamn horns.
I'm going to have to go with Bass on this one. La Familia was not my favorite track on there, and when I say not my favorite track, to me this whole album's a solid album. It's really good from start to finish, front to back, however you want to call it. Both sides of the fucking tape. I mean, it's a solid album in my opinion. But like you said, there's not too much substance behind La Familia. Like, it's not one of those where you're like, hey, let me fucking scroll through here and find La Familia. Bump that one.
Yeah,
it's not what you do. It's not a Tom Ford. You're not
gonna search the lyrics, and be like, "What did he say?"
It's not fuck with me. I got it because you'll bump that one. Don't lie.
Hey, I'll bump it, but I wish there was more.
I'm surprised no one said "Fuck Up This World" as their favorite track.
That's up there, but I don't know. Crown hit me a lot harder. Yeah. But that song was sick too. Like those. That's like in the top 4-ish, 3-ish.
Aside from the lyric in Crown, it's the sample in Crown. Just
That's how I feel about Heaven. The sample was in there, like, really brought it up for me. I was like, damn.
So this album was the first album to be released after Jay had his child, Blue Ivy. And we actually, is the first time we ever heard Blue on a track, which was on Jay-Z's Blue. I think it's what shows
kind of towards the end.
The 14th track on this one.
God damn.
Do you think that you heard a softer Jay on this, or a softer Jay after this?
I'm gonna pause you right there because his very first line in the album on the very first track is "Blue told me remind you niggas, fuck that shit y'all talking about, I'm the nigga." Just straight up references Blue as his very first line in the album and just says, "I'm the shit," just straight up. So I don't know. I don't think he went soft. I think that's just that right there was just a like. How can I say, like, not an homage, but like just like an intro to like, this is what's up. You know what I mean?
He just reestablished himself.
Like fatherhood won't fuck with me.
Yeah,
he hadn't had an album since Watch the Throne. That was 2 years before that. Mm-hmm. So I think he needed to take this opportunity. Oh, and this is one of his albums that came after his retirement. Or his, quote unquote retirement.
Freaking Brett Favre of the rap game. Dude.
Really?
It's never getting
I think that line.
As long as they don't go to the Jets, we're good.
Yeah, let's not do that. Actually, he went to the Vikings, but we'll not talk about that.
That one was even worse.
But he, with that line and with this album, I feel like he reestablished himself. Not that he ever really left, but he was gone for a while. But he came back on top with this album.
Yeah, he had a small little hiatus, but yeah, I guess I would agree with that. It's pretty much just like, I'm still here.
Because when the album came out, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
These songs were all over the radio. You couldn't go far without hearing about this CD, this album. Couldn't.
So let's touch base on something real quick because we got some feedback from a couple listeners about why we're talking about such old music. You know, because we're in 2017.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about a track, an album recently since the Bronson album, which was our first one, and even then, you know, you talk Bam Bam, and Bam Bam was just he's to me still 90s hip hop, but the boy's been. Yeah. You know, he hadn't seen anything in that time frame, you know? So
wait, what?
Like Bam Bam. Yeah. Like his musical influence, the style he raps is like 90s
definitely
90s New York hip hop in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess you but he like brings like a new twist.
But that's what I'm saying, like the substance, the flavor, Bam Bam himself, like have you had Action Bronson in the 90s, early thousands?
He would have been. I mean,
think about what he'd have been today.
He's huge now.
You know,
don't get me wrong. He's huge now.
Yeah. So
imagine him coming out like in 96, 97.
That would be
back whenever this style was prominent.
Yeah,
he would have been even because bigger star.
Who else?
I agree with that. Okay.
Who else is doing it like him today?
You threw me off for a second. I was like. Well,
I've seen him.
Don't say the God's name in vain.
I've been fucking up his mind recently.
Yeah, I've been fucking him over bad. His brain is all kinds of.
Dude, I've been working nights.
Did you say you like soup?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what?
That water you shit in a bowl? I don't fuck with that.
Ramen, alright?
Like, oh, clam chowder's what you meant. Yeah, that shit's good.
I don't eat soup.
Y'all been fucking my mind in the group chat.
So let me address this real quick. We talk about these older albums because these albums are prominent to hip hop. We talk about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago in these tracks. We talked about the College Dropout from 04, right?
13 years
13 years later, and it's still relevant. To what you listen to today, it still bangs. It still bumps. Like I said when we talked about Jesus Piece the last time, he's making references that people are barely making references to now.
Was that album 4 years ago?
That was in 13, end of 2012, I believe. We talked about it in the previous podcast. Follow the links, you'll find them there. But yeah, we talk about these albums that are a few years old because it made what is today, and we talk about these albums because they still impact our playlists today.
Yeah.
You know, granted, we could have talked about 444 had Mark picked it, had one of us picked it, and it would have still been relevant. Jay-Z, but Jay-Z relevant 4 years ago, and then 2 years before that, and then 2 years before that, and then was it 4 years before that? I mean, you know, some of these young cats are barely falling into UGK and stuff like that. Think Big Pimpin'.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know, what was Big Pimpin'? 98, 99?
That was a long time. I think it was 99. That was a long time.
Yeah, that was a really long time ago. But yeah, we talk about these albums because they were like significant to us, and they might be old, but you might have not heard it, or you might have heard it and not heard a couple songs we were talking about. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna check that out.
And trust me, we are going to be talking about some new stuff because, as you heard, Wu-Tang, some of the founders of hip hop just dropped something, you know, a couple days ago.
I'm ashamed of myself.
Gucci Man, the hardest working man in hip hop. You know, he's come up in every one of our podcasts. He just dropped something. You know, Eminem is about to drop something. These guys have a history in hip hop and rap. Yeah. You know, so to see them still dropping stuff, you know, and we talk about what catches our ears, what catches our attention. You know, we skip over Ski Master Slump God, we apologize, but that just didn't catch our attention opposed to this. And that's what this is about. It's what catching our attention to turn y'all on to some stuff y'all haven't heard before. Because before this podcast, did y'all hear of Lucy Camp?
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you hear of Aunt Illa?
Like, exactly. That's why I knew Aunt.
Did you know of Carmine?
I knew of him, but I've only heard a couple songs.
You know, and you go, Bass can attest, Carmine downtown with me. We're, walking down at the art walk.
Saying what's up.
Yeah, what's up, hey? In your inbox, you know. He personally hit me up, said he appreciated it and everything. Shout out to Carmine again. Appreciated hearing it. Ant hit me up the other day on one of his comments on Facebook. He posted a freestyle, and I said, cool. Hey, your Knights of the Round Record family's got you back, man. He goes, I'm always going to remember this. It was the first interview I ever had, I'm
really bummed I wasn't there.
So,
That's a good one.
We want to turn y'all on to stuff that y'all haven't listened to before. And if you have heard of it, we want to dissect that for you so you can listen to it again and say, like right now, we just dissected Holy Grail, the first track off the album. I'm a Nirvana fan. And I did not. I didn't catch that. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, I knew the lyrics and I knew where they came from, and I knew he mentioned Kurt Cobain. But as the writers, is Kurt Cobain, Dave Grohl, and Chris Novoselic. I mean,
that went straight over my head.
Chris Novoselic's the reason I picked up a bass at the age of 13. I picked up a bass and I started playing an instrument, and I played bass for 13 years, and then I got rid of it. You know, just didn't have time to catch up with it.
Yeah.
But still, like,
that's a big part of your life.
it's a big part of my life, and you look back at this music to think that hip hop was influenced by that, and to think about some of the if you're gonna talk Jay-Z, think about how rock has influenced rap as well, or hip hop. You had Jay-Z and Linkin Park drop an album years back, a whole album. Now, granted, it wasn't like a specialty album where Jay went in there and spit special tracks for them or anything like that, but it was still a remix, you know.
The fact of the matter is, they collaborated for a whole album, and
So-
it came out and it was successful.
Who we talk about and what we talk about is significant to us, and actually significant to the hip hop and rap game. So we're going to continue to talk about this, and we'll talk about some of the new stuff eventually. We have people come in here every once in a while.
Yeah, it's a good mix.
You have people come in here every once in a while. Special guests, I think from here on out, we'll let them pick out the next track for the next album, the next underground artist for the next episode that we have. So who knows what they're listening to?
Exactly. They'll put us on the stuff we've never heard before.
You know, they
That's why
might
we got to spin the wheel.
They might be bumping XXX Tentacion, and as much as I don't like the motherfucker, if he's the next person that we have to listen to, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bump the shit out of it, and I'm going to dissect it and tell you how I felt.
Mark, please do not pick Cardi B. Jesus Christ. I was like,
you know me, Cardi
I'm
B.
going to have to listen to the whole fucking album when he picks it.
I don't. Does she have an album out yet? I think all she has is just Bodak Yellow and Bodak Yellow remix and the Bodak Yellow Latin remix.
I'm dreading the day.
Wow, they got a Latin remix?
Yeah, she's Dominican, if I'm not mistaken, and she speaks fluent Spanish.
Wow, I did not know.
Like, there's an interview of her in a Spanish hip hop radio show. And they're talking,
Straight Spanish.
and she is just like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I can speak a little bit of Spanish, but man, I could not keep up with her. I can order a taco, and this bitch can order the menu. Like,
I could hit the restroom, and that's about it.
Donde está el baño? Necesito un cerveza. That's all you need to know in Spanish.
I got straight A's in Spanish 1 and 2 in high school, and the only words I know are página dos, page 2. Let's go, let's go. So, yeah, she's got me beat there.
All right, so overall, Charles, we're going to go to the rating record. We're going to keep this rating weekly because we kind of slacked on it, but it's something I want to keep on here. We're going to rate it by flames. Out of 5 flames, what do you give Magna Carta Holy Grail?
4.5.
4.5 flames out of 5?
Mm-hmm.
Bass, what do you give Magna Carta Holy Grail?
I give it a 3.
Eric, what do you give Magna Carta Holy Grail?
Straight, solid 4.
And I'm going to stick with the 4 right there, so we're going to average out with your 3.5 or 3 and the 4.5 right here. We'll probably be at a 3. About a 4 right here. 4 on average, 4 out of 5 flames. Definitely bump again. It's not going out of my recents. It's going to be something I listen to every once in a while.
Yeah, I didn't have to go find this album. I already had it, so it's gonna stay there.
And the album art's just so damn dope. Like,
yeah, I really
dug that too. I really like that.
You know, and that touches his art reference, which we didn't even talk about. He's got Picasso Baby as one of those on there. And he references Picasso. He references Warhol. He references Basquiat. Bass is an artist. When you listen to stuff like that, like...
I really love shout-outs like that. Like, a lot of people won't catch them, and they're kind of like... And if they do, it's kind of like, oh, whatever. But yeah, I really enjoy stuff like that. Like, you know...
little references like that, you know... Some people don't really care for them. Other people like Bass and myself as well. I do appreciate them because it's good. It's cool to know that this guy has an understanding of something that you understand, and for him to be able to shout it out on a track like that, you kind of have that connection with it. It's a cool thing.
See, I've always been a Basquiat fan. I've always wanted his Notorious Crown. I've always wanted that tattooed on my body somewhere. I just never got the chance to go do it. And when you hear Jay-Z reference Basquiat, John Michael Basquiat, like, dude, you know, it's really mind-blowing. It's like, damn, you know, and then he knows what his paintings are worth, even though, you know, rest in peace Basquiat, that he's gone. He knows what his paintings are worth, and he says, got that yellow Basquiat in the kitchen corner, go ahead and lean on that shit, Blue, you own it, huh? Like,
dude, yeah, that's
like,
so cool,
it is
dude.
like, fuck it up, we'll get another one, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it's like a crazy rags rich story. It's like, dude, he came selling, Marcy Projects, selling drugs, owning some of the most iconic paintings ever.
This dude's talking about buying a painting for $2 million. Now it's worth $8 million or something like that in the new album.
Yeah, new 444.
I'm really glad you brought that up, dude. Yeah, shout out.
To me, it's a big thing. I've always been influenced by art, graffiti art, abstract art. You know, just art in general, man. Without it, art as a whole, when it comes to music and movies and stuff like that, it just doesn't make sense. You know, you got to have that whole clusterfuck of awesomeness to make something.
It's a good blend because
you gotta have kind of a touch on everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
you gotta have something for everybody.
Music inspires me. Some rappers get inspired by music or cartoons and what's in cartoons, music. Like it's all back and forth.
Which
like
makes
dancing influences singers, like vice versa.
When you say
around,
cartoon
dude.
influences art and stuff like that, you look at like Rick and Morty just recently had Logic on their show.
Yes, dude.
Like
it's crazy, dude.
You know,
it's
and then you look at Jay-Z.
pot.
Jay-Z, for one of his songs off of 444 is completely animated.
Yeah, that old school cartoon.
Yeah,
Story of OJ.
Yeah, Story of OJ. And then recently,
that was really
Kodak
good.
Black, Patty Cake, his is all
I haven't
animated.
seen that. I need to check
You know,
that out.
I mean, it's not all animated, but his character's animated throughout the whole thing.
Louis Vert. Some of the albums have like that cool little
the animation on there. And then you go back to like Kanye West's College Dropout.
Yeah,
not College Dropout. Graduation, where that cat from Japan did the album art, which apparently is going to be some of the album art for the Kanye Cudi album that should be coming out soon.
Oh, that'll be
because they were spotted, met up, and took pictures with him and got posted on Instagram. So
there's something coming out there.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. We got on track, we digressed, got back on track, and now we've digressed again. But now let's talk about our underground artist of the week. Charles.
Damn, I don't know how he keeps track of that. I completely forgot what we were talking about.
My buddy Jex Mor. I know him as Zeke. That's his real name, but he goes by Jex Mor. Dude's a cool cat outside of his music, and with his music, dude's having fun. Like he's not like out here, like hating on anybody. Dude just goes out and raps because he likes. That's what he likes to do,
That's cool.
And his recent album, Bipolar, I mean, he didn't really want to do anything, like talk about anything yet until his new one came out because he didn't really like this one, but I dug this album. Like, he came by the dealership one day, dropped off a CD for me, and I had already been streaming it, and I just wanted to buy a CD because I dig the music, you know what I mean? I'm going to support him, from here until he stops making music, so. It's a fun album if y'all ever got a chance to listen to it. And now I'm super excited for his new one to come out.
So I got a chance to listen to it. Jex Mor's Bipolar. He released it this year?
Yeah, back
about was it 12, 13 tracks? 13 tracks is what it says on here. 13 tracks. I've known Zeke for a minute. I knew him back from the import car days. I believe he had a Volkswagen Jetta. I was driving my Honda Civic Wago van, if you remember the dumped ass wagon.
Was that
dropped as hell.
The only person I've ever known to drive that fucking wagon.
Yeah.
I've never known anybody else to have that
I knew some people who had some, but mine was by far the weirdest. That had the
shaggin' wagon.
Yeah, hell yeah. The
Definitely.
deep dish Steelies running an inch and a half off the ground.
Full of stees.
It was wild. I had that
HEB
big old Budweiser.
HEB parking lot, boy.
I had that big old Budweiser shift handle up here. We could talk about cars on another one. But yeah, I listened to it. Charles listened to it. I'm not too sure if Bass got a chance to listen to him.
I got a chance to listen to a couple songs, but actually I've seen him perform before, but I didn't know his name at the time. But he was pretty good. I didn't get to listen to that much of this album that y'all talked about. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to be on this one because I had to work. And because I thought I was going to have to work, so I didn't really get a chance to listen to it. I've heard a couple songs, can't remember the names of them, but yeah, like I said, I've seen him downtown, like performing at House of Rock a couple times. I think he was on the CC Friday. I think it was one of the CC Fridays.
CC Fridays.
Shout out to CC Fridays.
If y'all don't know about CC Fridays and you're in the Corpus Christi area, was it every Friday? Or they're doing it once a month now?
It was once a month, and then I think a couple times they've like snuck in like random events and stuff, like random Fridays.
We'll get in touch with them. We'll start posting stuff on our page about CC Fridays if they want to link up with us. That'd be cool. If not, no big deal. We still support the shit out of people who are trying to push their own music and whatnot. But yeah, CC Fridays is something held locally here in Corpus. It's on a Friday, obviously, where they either just completely fucking own a venue, or they go outside and have their speaker bumping with just
They've had it at
local artists.
Water Garden.
They started at the Water Gardens, and then they got up with House of Rock. So they had a few shows there, and it would bounce back and forth, just kind of depending, I guess, if there were shows already there. And they've had it at the Heritage Park.
Yeah.
They've had it there a few times, and I've been to 20 plus shows. Like, they have a lot of good dudes that are like still coming up. Some that are making music, like have been making music for a while. Some are starting to like. It started off with, I think, just ciphers and like them going and like.
And I remember Bass kept telling me to go, like, "Hey man, come out here, come spit a cool 16 on this."
Schedules didn't meet up, so
yeah, you know, some of us got to adult and stuff, and some shit happens, we don't get to meet up. Eric, did you get to listen to Jex Mor?
Yeah, I actually I've had Bipolar on my Apple Music since it came out. I used to be real close with Zeke back whenever it did come out. We used to go to school together. So I've had this on my phone for a good while. I've heard it quite a few times. Zeke is definitely one of the best out there right now, I think, but he's definitely got a long way to go. Or as far as himself, I think he's great right now. But I know, if I know Zeke and I know Jex Mor, this dude is pushing out a bunch of music.
He holds himself to a super high standard.
Yeah,
to say what
nothing is ever good enough.
And I think as an artist, you do that to yourself, you know, because I listened to it, and trust me, before he was Jex Mor, he was Zeke Jide, and I listened to the music he was putting out as Zeke Jide, and I was like, you know what, it could be better. Yeah. You know, and I wouldn't jam it with it. I wouldn't bump it with it. I honestly didn't know he changed his name to Jex Mor, and I didn't know he put out this album or mixtape. Well, I'm not too sure what it's labeled as.
EP, I guess.
Yeah. Whatever. So when I finally did jam it, when Charles brought it up and said, you know, this is going to be our underground artist for next week, I listened to it, and I swear I did not think I was listening to the same person that I would listen to 2-3 years ago when he was coming on as Zeke Jide, you know. And I'm jamming it, and then he's got features from local artists and stuff like that.
Production from local guys.
And
also,
then this album doesn't sound local quality.
No.
Not to knock anybody local or anything. This doesn't sound like he recorded out of a garage, someone's closet, you know. But
sounds
you know,
professional.
It takes money to make money, you know. Yeah. And if you want to invest in yourself, and this is just a little tidbit to anybody who's listening out there who's trying to put themselves on, if you want to invest in yourself, don't buy the $20 beat. Don't get that free beat off of Dat Piff. Spend some money on it. Don't go to your homeboy's studio where he hooks up in his mom's back room and he's got a mattress stapled to the wall and you can record off of his, you know, $20 mic.
Hit up my boy Chris.
Frequency. You know, we know some people, man. We're gonna try and get some producers on the show, talk to them and stuff like that. Trust me, I've also got a lot of people lined up who want to come on the show. But without y'all, we can't get this fan following going. So y'all keep sharing and subscribing and getting us out there to help these people get known. But you got Jex Mor with Johnny Moog. Yeah. Johnny Moog's a big name in Corpus.
And they got that link up. So that was a good track.
Shout out to my boy Jason Merkrock on this one. And then on the last one, he's got Loudmoutha on one of the tracks. Like,
towards the back end.
Yeah, the last one. If it's not the last one, and then what? Jay Roach, some other local cats right here, and like I said, no knocks to any of the local guys. This doesn't sound like a local album. This sounds high produced. This sounds like something that you find on Google Play, Apple, iTunes, and stuff.
I'll say one thing about it. I used to work with him, and at the time, this is whenever he was still Z-Giant, and he was still trying to get up. And I remember there was people clowning on him for paying for his beats, like for paying people to produce beats just for him that he could only use, and people were hating on him so bad for that. And I could never understand why.
Invest in yourself, people. Yeah. Invest in yourself. Because if you don't, no one else will. No one's going to listen to that shit you're putting on SoundCloud. Like I said, that you're recording in your mom's basement with the free fucking SoundCloud download. No knocks to anybody who's putting their shit for free on SoundCloud. But if no good people do their good shit for free. If you're good at it, you have to charge.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
You know, and I get it because I've recorded stuff and I've rapped and I've done some stuff like that before, and I've always thought, man, if I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put my music out there, I'm going to do it for free so no one has to pay to listen to it. Hey, that's cool. but invest in yourself, invest in your music. And I want to give a huge shout out to Jex Mor on this one. You can tell he invested in himself, and he invested in his project, and he invested in his passion, because, man, this album, EP, mixtape, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is great, and it bumps, man. And I will keep this one in my recents, and I will go back to listen to it. And Zeke, if you're listening, homeboy, we want you on the fucking show when the next album drops. And if you're not here, we're gonna keep talking about it, man. Plain and simple.
Look, I got one thing. I just want to say, shout out to Zeke. What's up, man? But I don't mean no disrespect by this, but you can tell there was a very large gap of growth that he made from whenever his last couple of tracks as Zeke Jied to whenever this bipolar mixtape or whatever came out. You could tell that there was a very large gap that he crossed as far as his production or the music he was using. You see that he got all the features from a bunch of different local guys, so that was on the come up also. But just the overall quality of the project, like I said, no disrespect to anything from the Zeke Jied days, but you can see how much improvement he made in a very, very short amount of time, going from Zeke Jied to Jex Mor.
Went from good to better.
Yeah, he went from good to better, and the next album is probably going to be even better than the last.
The fact that he doesn't like this one as much as he knows he's going to be better on the new one gets me excited.
That says a lot.
Yeah,
that says a lot about his work ethic. He puts out this album, and it's great to me. I really enjoy it, but it's not good enough for him. And he's ready to go take that next step and put out the next one, and he said it's going to be even better than the last. I believe it. I'm here for it. I'm ready. I'm going to have it day one.
So that's that, guys. Thank you for listening to episode 4 of Knights of the Round Records. But wait, we got to choose next week's album. So I took Charles out of it since Charles picked last. So you got myself, you got Eric, and you got Bass in there. I'm going to hit this choose button on the shitty app, and we're not going to shout out again. Lucky winner is Eric. Eric finally got himself a track. Eric, what are we listening to for this week, man?
Okay, this week we're going to listen to the new Gucci album, Mr. Davis. You can't not like this album. There's nothing bad about it. David, I know he said off top he hasn't heard it all yet, so that's why I'm forcing him to listen to this.
You ain't forcing me, baby. You ain't not forcing me.
You know what I mean. It's going to be a very in-depth discussion, I think, next week, because we've all heard this already. Yeah. Dave's going to take the week to jam it, so it's going to be a good episode next week.
So that is what we're listening to next week. Stay tuned. We're listening to Gucci Mane's Mr. Davis, and then who is our underground artist of the week? Eric.
Man, the underground artist of the week, that's going to be a tough one because I don't really have anything from anybody else coming up right now. So let me just take a look here. I mean, you know what? I really just want to... It's not going to be an underground person, but I want to go back and listen to one of the Sci-Hi's Road Flush mixtapes. That's all right.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm with that.
That's good, yeah.
He's
still underground.
He's not necessarily mainstream.
Although he's signed. He's signed to good music.
Yeah, but he's not in that public eye like Kanye is, or like anybody really else on the label is.
Yeah,
so did we hear him on Cruel Summer?
Yeah, he was there.
He was there a few times.
Yeah, he was there a handful.
I'm just saying, I haven't heard Cruel Summer in
it's been a minute.
Yeah.
You heard R. Kelly on Cruel Summer.
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. For the rest of the Knights of the Round Records, this is VillosaurusWrex. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share. Just fucking send it to your mom's inbox. I don't care. Just thanks for the support. We're gonna keep putting it out there for y'all. Tune in next week. We're gonna talk about Sci-Hi the Prince. We're gonna talk about some Gucci Mane. Y'all peace out. Y'all have a good one. One love.